Well, for Godsmilla's team, they know the task ahead of them. They have got to win this at least 3 games to 1. Anything that involves a game 5 or them just losing the series outright would see them eliminated from the tournament. And that rocket from Farah won't help.
Yeah, we did have a very nice pass from Chaussette there to send the ball into the middle for Farah to run at. Freaky just crept slightly off the goal line, maybe not expecting Farah to just shoot straight at him there. He wanted to close down a potential dribble. Farah just went for the direct shot and he scored it. But like I said, that pass from Chaussette, take notes. If you're an up-and-coming Rocket League player, you want to know how to center the ball quickly. That's one way to do it. Just slam it over the ceiling or into the ceiling above the opponent's net.
Godsmilla trying to take control, him and the rest of the team. Just reset after going down very early in this game. That's also back out. Double commit from Godsmilla's team. Astral reset from him. Not going to get too much for it. Freaky back over. They're going to look to try and chase it up himself, but Chaussette will have absolutely none of that, although he is out of boost. And luckily for him, the rest of the team on the orange side of the field did not quite know about it. Now Freaky for the double tap attempt. Farah easily cleans up. And yeah, Solary definitely more against it in this regional than I think they were expecting. And when we originally saw Group D coming out, we thought, all right, well, they're a lock-in probably for top 2. Yeah. Instead, they're, not in a great spot as we see Farah move in. Okay. Well, it's becoming a better spot as we move on.
Yeah, Farah's been in the receiving end of some great passing plays here. Astral didn't just get that center, but then he bumped the defender off the back wall. Godsmilla would have probably had an interception on that, certainly a challenge on Farah's shot. Astral just clipped him with the very front end of his car, and it's already 2-0 to Solary. Strong start for them. This is ideal, needing just 2 games to advance to the knockout gauntlet.
And yeah, this is the first time ever, I think, in either of our careers, Johnny, we can get 1 minute and 10 into a series in order to go, yeah, this is panic time for Godsmilla's team. This has to change very quickly because this is their one life that they are about to just lose.
Yeah, this is the only flexibility that they've got in the series. If they don't win this, they need to go 3 straight, or they're going to just be out of this group before the series is even over.
Oh, no.
They're struggling to get anything going in offense, Shogun. The backboard has been well defended by Solary up until now. Astral just about kept that center safe. And I think the pace that Solary have set has really helped them out here. They're not holding back, and I think one of Solary's weaknesses has been maybe just holding back a bit too much in series where they're the favorites, waiting for mistakes and not trying to force them. They're definitely trying to force them here.
Yeah, they've definitely seemed like a team that have been a little bit shook by the way this series has played out. Everyone expecting them to be a real challenger, not just to a top 6 spot, but, challenging for regional championships. Freaky off the infield pass. And that is very much needed for Godsmilla's team. They've cut the lead in half.
Yeah, not a moment too late. Freaky just first to the center ball. Astral turning sideways to the play. He had the near post shot covered. He had that angle, completely locked down. But the infield pass, not so much. And, maybe just positioning a bit more to go between the two would have made more sense there because there's no ball pressure for Solary. So you've got to try and cover both angles as the goalkeeper. It's a tough ask, though. As the shot was definitely an option, and with how well Chronic's been playing, you already know he's going to hit that angle if you leave it open for him.
Chaussette just trying to take it down under his own control. Godsmilla already coming in for the challenge. 2 minutes left here. Miller's team really desperate to get themselves that extra goal. Then they've got to get 1 more on top of that. Solary really the team in the driver's seat. Godsmilla now to the corner. Doesn't steal any boost on his way through, so Astral can clear. Maybe even set up some offense as well, depending on how this is played by Godsmilla's team, and they play it fantastically. Great transition.
Yeah, you got to look out for the infield passes. There's another one, but it was a bit too close to Farah in the net. Godsmilla now knocking on a shot from Freaky. But all of these attacks are ending before a threatening shot gets put on target. And although, I like the fact that Godsmilla's team are not completely throwing caution to the wind yet with over a minute left to play and just that 1 goal deficit, they will need to take a risk at some point, and it's up to them to decide what shot or what player they're going to make that risk on, what shot or player they're going to take that risk. because time will run out pretty soon here. And these shots are just not good enough. The quality will not get past Solary's defense.
Oh, there's the infield. It's a lot of work for Chronic to do, though.
Wow.
Tried to meet him mid-air. Shot set. Didn't care less. Yeah, I don't dislike what Godsmilla's team have done so far. We already know that Solary have been a team susceptible to calamity. But they're getting to the point now where Solary have proven that they are a little bit too solid for that at the moment. They now need to create their own chance. Astral immediately intercepts a Chronic still downfield, but just too far above as Freaky pushes the ball away. Takes it back. It's another poor pass, and a Chronic leaped out of the way from the bump. 20 seconds now. Good block from a Chronic. They're going to look to try and break. Farah didn't want to take an early challenge. Instead, waits for it. Brilliant defending.
Yeah, this has been good job by Solary up until now. And Godsmilla's team just taking too many weak shots on target in the last 2 minutes. Will they get another one? No, they won't, as the ball gets grounded by Solary. And despite leveling out the midfield pressure, Solary were the faster team out the gate. They were the more aggressive team at the start of this game. Godsmilla's team fought back, and they didn't allow Solary to continue dominating the midfield. However, they just didn't really create the best chances on net. I think they were probably shooting too early when goalkeepers are just more than ready for these shots to be taken. More of an outplay focused offense would make sense. Because if Solary are going to sit back in their net like this, there's no point passing the ball to them, because that's what a shot is. If there's a goalkeeper right there, you're just giving it away.
I mean, we saw throughout that first game that Solary were living up on the backboard. They were ready for that play every single time. The infields had a little bit more success, but there was only one pass that they did infield that, really looked like it was executed properly. The rest of them, the person you're trying to pass to had to try and chase it up and just control afterwards. So I agree. I think a little bit more variety. If you're going to put Solary into just the 50-50 game of, are we going backboard? Are we going infield? They know how to deal with that. So you need to add a couple more weapons to the arsenal, and that might force them back just a little bit more. As here we go, oh! There's the weapon! And a Chronic makes sure that he is heard.
What a touch by a Chronic. Pre-flips to counter the early challenge from Chaussette, and the second hit goes right over Farah and Astral. He put it in the one place that neither of them could reach. That's the key to victory for Godsmilla's team. Well, I mean, maybe just two keys. One, give the ball to a Chronic, because that's been a winning strategy for them recently. Number two, hit the ball where the defenders aren't. Like, hit it in the place that they can't reach. Chronic showing them how it's done.
Oh, there's another chance for Freaky. Can't quite get to it. Reminder that at this point, Godsmilla's team have to win all 3 games in a row. Any more game losses, and they're playing the rest of the series out for fun, as we see a Chronic again off the ceiling. Didn't get much from him in the last game. This one, he seems to be much more involved. Chaussette almost got it underneath Godsmilla. Freaky out. Chronic can follow. Will they need it? Just sending the players, forcing the defenders to guess. Farah not quite able to get the flick past Godsmilla. You just know as well that every single time a Chronic pulls off one of these amazing individual plays, Astral will be looking at that as a challenge.
It's true. He always does this. Whenever a team starts to try to read bounces really early, I know Giants used to do this, and Astral would accept the challenge and try to beat everybody to the ball. So the gauntlet's been thrown down. Chronic scored a wonder goal to open the scoring here. I expect to see Astral pouncing on any opportunities to do likewise.
That shouldn't have been pretty good, because the more they can put Astral on, the more it might actually cool down Farah's shooting, who can be very hit or miss when we've seen him in previous tournaments. That's Miller, ball down, a Chronic versus Chaussette. Chaussette wins that pretty handily, and now Freaky's all by himself. He avoids being demoed by Chaussette and gets the challenge in the corner. It's been a very solid series for defense. Farah for the dribble across the entire, middle of the field. That's Miller, not the best first touch. But this slow, meandering pace will suit Godsmilla's team at the moment. They try and get that win. Astral not able to follow. And Let's get a demo on his way back through. Might actually ruin the rotation. And Godsmilla's team lucky not to collide with each other.
You know, a lot has changed in the last year for Rocket League, but it's good to see that some things are still the same. Freaky's still winning 1-0. This will be more than comfortable for him and Godsmilla's team. Half the game gone. They have locked down the midfield. No real chances for Solary to take, at least up until now. That's a great challenge by Chronic. He's used the ceiling to give himself options in that challenge. Should Astral go for a ceiling clear, Chronic can dive in. Should Astral try to air dribble the ball clear, Chronic can fall off the ceiling and meet him there. So it's just a brilliant technique to counter someone that you're not really sure what they're going to do yet. And that's something you always have to do when you're playing against Astral. He reveals his hands, he reveals his play as late as possible. Now Godsmilla being tested. He's low on boost, but he does well. Keep the ball safely in the corner. Under 100 seconds now in game 2. A must-win game for Godsmilla's team.
Yep, and they'll take this at the moment. They don't really care if this ends up being the most boring final minute and a half ever. They would prefer it, if anything. Astral into the ceiling. Freaky. That's the way you defend against Astral. Put the car up there and just clatter into him. Oh, that's not the great touch either from Chaussette. Almost set up Godsmilla. But they are still on offense. And player down. Astral, not a huge amount of boost. Decides to go to the ceiling. Pass over to Farah. That was not a bad idea. Just didn't have the resources to pull it off.
Yeah, I'm just thinking Astral would have he would have preferred Farah to approach that center from the far post. He came straight down the middle, and the goalkeeper from Godsmilla's team was able to see him coming. And it's a bit harder because Astral has to hit the ball straight down. If Farah comes in at the back post, Astral can shoot the ball across the box, which is a lot easier to do. So I think Solary might just need to start spreading out in offense a bit more, use more of a V formation in attack. Right now they're queuing up behind each other, and they're not getting all that many chances out of this. I think they've got to change how they approach the offensive box. We did actually there see a back post approach. Chaussette snipes the top corner. Wow, Chaussette steps up huge. That is not an easy shot to make. Oh my goodness, he hits it well.
Fair play to Farah at the same time. Managed to just completely trip up 2 goalkeepers on his way through. And now it is time to panic if you're a Godsmilla's team fan. Actually, I should rephrase it. If you're a viewer, I think the Godsmilla's team fan is just sort of implied at this point. As it is off the backboard, Chaussette can't run onto it. Godsmilla's team would love to find the floor at this point. Send it to overtime. That's not the best bounce for them, but it is over to Freaky. Astral sees it down. We've got overtime, and Godsmilla's team have to score to stay in.
This 1 goal is all Solary need to advance the next stage of the tournament. Keep their chances of contesting the top 6 alive. They need this win if they're going to make top 6. It's so difficult to see them staying in the running if they lose here. And they've got a good start in OT. Boost-starred players across the board for Godsmilla's team. But that doesn't mean that Chaussette's not comfortable dribbling the ball back into his own half. I love the possession there. Solary taking their time with this one. They know that the pressure is on Godsmilla's team, not them.
Yeah, Solary will know how often they've been caught out by just dumb goals when they're in a position of such dominance in a game. That's a awkward bounce that really needs to be reacted to. And Godsmilla was able to do it. A chronic up. Astral having none of it. Freaky. No nonsense as always. Off the backboard. It's a mystery from Farah. Now it's Godsmilla's chance! And we march on!
Well, of all the ways that Solary could have lost this, this is one of the worst possible outcomes. We have got a team collision in the net. Chaussette and Astral were both there, but they have, kind of been bumped, kind of driven into each other, and the net's left wide open despite there being 3 cars inside the net, which is bizarre. Farah misses the back wall clear as well. It's just all gone wrong for Solary there at the end here. You said, they've really had quite a few silly losses in RLCS Season X. Well, there's another one to add to the list. Miss on the back wall, and just really nobody taking command of the situation as the ball rolls into the goal.
I don't want to sort of I don't think there's like a good situation for either of these teams, because for Godsmilla's team, they're up against it completely and totally. But for Solary in the season they've had, if you were to turn around someone just go, yeah, Godsmilla's team beat them 3-1 when they were in full control of the series and they got eliminated. You could totally hear that. You would believe that after what's happened to Solary. And yeah, that replay does not make it look any better for them.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, it was awkward. To be fair, it's not an easy clear. You've got a split second to make that decision. Farah has to decide, can I reach that ball? Can I get up there before the ball hits off that back ball? Is it gonna, am I gonna have time? Because if he gets stuck to the wall like that, inertia prevents him from jumping, prevents him from flipping off the wall, and it makes it very difficult to reach it. But man, that's a tough one. Solary have just got to remember they've still got 2 more chances here. They just need to get 1 win. They need to win a game out of the next 2. Godsmilla's team need both, so it's still pressure on Godsmilla's team. But Solary, I mean, they're not making it easy for themselves.
I mean, when have they ever? Well, to be fair, it's a very difficult esport to remain consistent in. So there are a bunch of teams, but let's sort of chat about Solary as well, and about their season so far, because the spring split has already been so much better to them. It seems like as the season's gone on, they've got stronger and stronger. And they'll be thinking to themselves, well, why couldn't we have just done this in the fall? Why did the fall have to be so rough for us that we put ourselves in this situation?
Yeah, it is at least better late than never for Solary. But, you said it yourself. It's now that they've got hard mode, RLCS Season X, they need to play consistently, or they're just not going to be even in the running for that top 6 anymore. They're still a couple of 100 points away. It's
about 200, which is the reason why I bring up the full thing, because that's like, make yourself a semi-final, make yourself a final, something that we'd expect this team to have done in the fall, and they just never did. And, that's where those points are missing it right now.
Yeah, they need to be outperforming, in particular, Galaxy Racer, Endpoint, and Guild. Dignitas as well. Dignitas, Guild, Endpoint, Galaxy Racer are the 4 teams who are above Solary and within a reasonable kind of distance that Solary can overtake them on their own terms if they just do well enough. It's not possible for all 4 of those teams to consistently finish ahead of Solary if Solary get deep enough in this tournament and just beat the teams that they're supposed to beat. So I'd love to see Solary stay in the running here, but you've got to also love the Godsmilla's team run. It's hard not to root for these guys. Everybody is rooting for them because they're just such a fun team. They've also brought in Wonder player, a new Wonder kid in a Chronic, which is really cool to see. I think that is he the first Portuguese player that we've ever seen really perform to the very highest level. I'm kind of putting you in the spot here, Sugar, but I think
it's weird because like my timeline is all over the place because the Portuguese players are actually massive back in battle cars.
Yeah.
They were incredible back then. But the reason why we've had to wait a second is because we just needed to get a new lobby up. We have done that. We have got the players all shepherded in. And we've also got a shout in from Gibbs, who has told us that, there's even more reason. Not only are Solary, fighting in this series to get themselves into the top 4, they win this, they get top 2. So they have everything to go for. This could be complete catastrophe or a lovely cushion heading into tomorrow's knockout gauntlet.
I mean, do you even tell them that at the moment? Because when this series started, it wasn't confirmed. I don't think it was confirmed, at least, that Solary could get top 2 with a win in this series. But it has become the case because Ricks have swept in their final series.
Ricks have been incredible this week.
Yeah, Ricks are top of the group. They've swept everybody. They've beaten everybody. And what that means is that Solary, if they win this last series, if they beat Godsmilla's team by any scoreline in this series, they will finish second in the group. But if I was their coach, I don't think I would bother telling them that right now because you just got to get the game win first of all. Then you tell them that you can actually finish second in the group. And the game win is really all that matters. Just keep themselves in the tournament. That's where you start off here. I mean, the same thing for Godsmilla's team, though. Both teams are just trying to stay in the tournament.
Yeah, this is really one of the more unique series that we have had this season, where straight from the off, it is full pressure on. There's a lot of times that we can sort of come in here and say, hey, you lose 1 or 2 games, fine, whatever, as long as you find your footing. Best of 5 series really is not that long. But you take that and you've cut the amount of time that you've got to perform down even further, and it becomes a very, very difficult task. It's a task that Godsmilla's team have got to take up, as they have to win the next 2 games just to maintain their position in the second regional. Godsmilla, good challenge from him, but Astral will win it. Over to Farah, who has been having a fantastic time this series for the sharpshooting. Didn't get anything this time round, and Chaussette here is very, very soft indeed. Good communication. Astral taking it away. Demo as well. Might give a chance to Farah. It's not a nice bounce, but Chaussette will tuck it in beneath the goalkeeper.
And you've got to wonder what on earth is Freaky thinking here. I mean, he's got to be trying to keep the ball in the corner. There's no way that his initial plan was to get behind that and chip it into the middle. I mean, that's what he's done. He's centered the ball in slow motion and gifted Solary the 1-goal advantage here. I think when he flew up for this initially, his plan was absolutely not to center this. There's just no way that that's what he wanted to do. You want to keep the ball in the corner there, give your teammates time to position in the net and intercept any potential passes and follow-ups that Solary will have. Yeah, Freaky just accelerate to their demise there. Now trying to make up for it. Astral's got him covered at the near post. Solary just trying to hold on to this lead, I'm sure. I mean, if they can get another goal, that would be such a huge advantage. But they don't want to get hit with another silly counter-attack. They really just can't afford to make any more mistakes.
No, what we've seen from Solary so far has been a very, very solid defense, especially when they are defending a lead. I think they can rely upon that a little bit more. Force Godsmilla's team to start to panic. We already know what happens when Godsmilla's team panic. They become very paint by numbers with their offense. So put the challenge on the new roster. Chronic up. Just gets it straight to Freaky. Now 1-2 between them. But Chronic's next hit, a little advised. They have got at least the transition, but I want to just be handing away possession like that. This is why I almost got caught out for a long shot. Godsmilla, very difficult angle to take the shot. And Astral blocks. Good body block as well, but another poor touch in the corner. Godsmilla will get rid. And only 2 minutes and 14 left on the clock. Oh my goodness. You can see Astral whiffing in midair. Both of these teams might get themselves a goal. Piora from mistake. Godsmilla backboard, but there will be no follow-up. That was the one that had to go to net.
Yeah, it's a tough one to make your mind up on what to do with. Now Ferris at the post. The shooting is a bit off target for both teams at the moment. Chaussette's been brilliant for Solary, though, in the midfield. I feel like he's been the least consistent player throughout the RLCS season for Solary. Going from best player in the world in 2019 to sometimes just not being able to make contact in defense in RLCS Season X. It's been a tough season for Chaussette, but today he's been huge for Solary, and he's been consistent, which is the key.
Oh, big demo on Godsmilla. Chaussette chases down. Not sure what his boost situation was looking like, but Chronic could get rid of it. Freaky's pass over to Chronic, not going to make it though. Backboard, no boost for Chronic. He needs a teammate, nobody around. The pressure is on at the moment. Farah, he gets blocked by Freaky. And as you mentioned, Chaussette, hot on the heels of that one. Let's get over to it. Nice and quick now. It's far away, and Farah scrambles back just in time to get the save. A second touch from a Chronic that he didn't quite want will slow down the offense. To the backboards, Godsmilla's team keep going forward with plays that is lowering them to 0, which you can already see on Chronic. He's only got 5 as he heads forwards. Solary, pretty comfortable boost-wise. As the ball re-enters the orange side of the field, it is all work to do for Godsmilla's team.
Yeah, they're getting nothing for free from Chaussette in this game. He's all over them. This is a really, really fast addition of Chaussette compared to what we've become used to seeing from him. Will Farah and Astral be able to hold on as well? It was the two of them who were most in the wrong in the last game, but look at Chaussette denying the third man entry, and Astral finishes the job. Solary lead by 2, and there's just no time left for Godsmilla's team to work with.
And that'll do it for them. So, Chaussette proves to be a defensive difference maker. And what a performance that has been from him. Goal, assist, 2 saves. That will be enough for Solary to make it through, at least for the top 4. Now, Johnny, do you tell them
Oh, yeah. Now
to
you
keep
tell them.
that pressure on. That's not time to step back.
Oh, you absolutely tell them. I mean, Godsmilla's team, what a heartbreaker to go from top 4 in Regional 1. Now they've failed to make it to the second stage of the competition. It's a disappointing result, especially for a team who have, you know, collected so many fans since their regional run last time. It was always going to be hard to see any of these teams from Group D be eliminated. This is a super stacked event, the most stacked event that we've ever seen in the EU side of RLCS Season X. I'd have to go and look. It might even be the most stacked event in RLCS X overall. I'm not sure if NA have had one that's more stacked than this, although I'm sure we will see the most stacked events in NA in the upcoming regionals there. But yeah, that's goodbye to Godsmilla's team for the event, but not goodbye to them today. They can still be spoiler to Solary's seeding. Solary need a win in the series to finish top 2. And should Solary lose here, then they're actually going to be in 3rd. So Team Singularity fans, you want Solary to lose this one. That's just a little PSA for you guys.
Is that sort of like Singularity fans thinking that Solary is going to be amazing? You just do not want to take that coin flip of what Solary you're going to get tomorrow.
Well, you know, I think Team Singularity fans would they want that top 2 so they can get the double chances. Because Singularity, you're such a coin flip team. You never really know what kind of version for them is going to show up. So they definitely would rather have 2 shots at winning to advance to the top 8 than having to win 2 in a row. Coin flip teams, they don't have the best odds in, you know, winning 2 in a row.
Well, I would like to point towards Team Queso for that sort of thing.
Team Queso
which is about 10 coins being flipped at the same time whenever they're playing. It's just raining coins.
Like Team Queso is more like just pick a card, any card. It could be anything of 52 options when they show up. You really have got a diverse range of teams within a team there.
The only card trick that Team Queso are aware of is 52 card pickup.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, they are.
Go ahead.
Oh,
shot.
Shot set. What a day he's having. That looked like the starting 1-0 lead, but Shotset's not having any of it. And this is huge, because if Shotset can continue this form that we're seeing from him right now, we already know Astral will pop off when he gets into those, when he gets that deep run. When they do well in the tournament, Astral's going to be huge. When Shotset plays well, Farah tends to play well also. I think they're kind of connected, being such a long-term serving duo in the Rocket League scene.
Yeah, and I think it's one of those things of, for a lot of new viewers that have come in for us for Season X, you know, they might have been seeing the way that this team has been performing and us constantly talking about, well, this isn't the Shotset that we know. And you just think, well, how can he get away for a song? You don't know how good he can be.
Oh, yeah.
What we have seen from him when he is at top level is impeccable. But it is just getting him into those sort of zones. He's been able to show it online. He's been able to show it in LAN. But he is up against a Godsmilla's team that want to tread on some feet on their way out, leave a couple of bruises. Just like that one. Godsmilla taking out one of the goalkeepers, or someone in the midfield. Here comes a Chronic, looking for the backboard. Shot set. Easily cleared, but freaky shot. Caused a little bit of panic for Solary. Infield pass, actually, it's dropped backwards. Ferro up against the Chronic. Not the best first touch. Freaky with a Chronic to aim for, and aim for me well. What a goal.
Perfect pass, and an even better finish. A Chronic weaves in between 2 defenders to send the ball on target faster than they can catch up with. Godsmilla's team are out of the tournament, but they're not done trying to win this series.
You still get some more clips of the montage. Block again from a Chronic. This will be an interesting learning experience for him, especially. With 2 extremely experienced players, and I think the experience he's getting here is that Rocket League's not always that kind to you. You've still got to work your way through it. Miller keeps the ball away from that corner, and it actually ends up being a good decision. Freaky can chase down. Chase down, he absolutely will. Refusing to give up this pressure. Infield now, but Both of the teammates weren't in position, seemed to have miscommunication about who was supposed to go for it, and Ferris blocked. Yep, came close, but not quite.
Yeah, Godsmilla with a huge play to dodge the demo and also get the save on that 1v2 play. Freaky denies Farah any further advancement down the left-hand side of the field. It's been difficult for Solary to get anything going offensively. Trying to get the passes going now, but it's not easy to pass to players who are right beside you. You want to have a bit more space between your members of the team to, you know, knock these passes off. It is possible to get these little passes back and forth, but I think that's more of a defensive and a midfield thing. When you get really close to the opponent's goal, you don't have a lot of room to maneuver there. Solary need to give themselves more space.
Chronic goes low on the challenge. It bounces favorably, but there's no power to be generated. But we are seeing Godsmilla's team looking for an extra goal. It's somehow denied. I have no idea how that managed to bounce out. Solary still in this one, still hunting down for that top 2 spot.
Yeah, Solary just need the series win. The scoreline, or the game score, no longer matters in terms of their overall seeding. They just have to win the series to get second, lose it, and they're going to be in 4th. And there is a big difference there. You start on the upper or the lower half of the knockout gauntlet. Godsmilla's team just playing for pride at the moment and trying to do all their fans proud. They've been the better team in game 4, no question. Chaussette's had some unbelievable saves to keep Solary in a 1-goal deficit. Yeah, this is, you know, definitely a big opportunity now, but final chance of regulation going to Solary here.
Freaky, straight into the path of Asteroids, off the backboard, left for Chaussette, goes bottom corner. But there had absolutely no fizz on that shot. And it is Godsmilla's team sending us to game 5 and looking to put their opponents in the lower part of the knockout gauntlet. Interestingly as well, Johnny, if Solary do win this, they obviously confirm that second spot. They will play against one of the next 2 teams that we've got coming up on broadcast, as a BDS are taking on, as I just quickly check up, there's everything going on at the moment. BDS and White Demons are playing against each other to try and confirm that number 1 spot. So yeah, that could be a fun time. Hooray, you got yourself the number 2. Boo, you're playing against BDS, but I think you'd rather give yourself the chance.
Oh, of course. It's still an absolutely favorable seeding. Running into BDS or not, it doesn't make the goal any different for Solary. They want to win this no matter what, because if they lose here, they need to win 2 series in a row in order to progress to the final day of competition. Tomorrow, they'd have to win 2 straight. If they're able to beat Godsmilla's team in this game, they will most likely run into BDS in the first series tomorrow. But then, failing an upset win over BDS, they would only need to win once in the lower half of the knockout gauntlet. So it's still it's twice as easy. And you get a shot at BDS as well. Great warm up. Great upset potential there. Be the team to knock BDS down. Yeah, this is a chance now for Solary to do what they're supposed to do. If you're going to make the run for top 6, you've got to be winning. You're going to be performing well in your group. You can't be finishing 4th.
Well, what a match we could have as well if Godsmilla's team ended up taking this as Chaussette. Almost able to dribble the whole way. If we see Solary lose, they'll be taking on Top Blokes in the first round.
Yeah, no thanks. I think it's pretty clear that winning here is very good. For anyone who thinks that they're going to not want to face BDS, oh yes, they are. Of course, Solary will gladly take on BDS in the upper half of tomorrow. Instead of Top Blokes and Lures, loser goes home. Yeah, that's an easy one right there. But can they do it? Godsmilla's team are still playing just exactly the same, if not better than they did earlier on in the series. This is game 4 was solid from them. So, Solary, you're not getting a freebie here.
Absolutely not. Godsmilla's team, fair play to them. They have not given up at all here. They really want to go out on a high, take that series win. Now Godsmilla, far side to a Chronic, waits for the half volley shot, and continue moving on off the ceiling, looking to outplay the vast defense of Solary. And Demo will open up the field a little bit more. Freaky moves in late, wanted to get the second half of that challenge. Oh, a chronic!
Oh, what?
Well, that is a mistake out of nowhere.
And this wasn't even just a misread. He just missed. He didn't pre-jump this. He didn't try to, jump really early for that one. He waited, saw where the bounce was going, and simply missed. No way can Freaky and Godsmilla expect that. Chronic's consistency has been top tier. His level of performance has been top tier. Just compared to the entirety of the EU region, that was not top tier. Chronic puts his team in a world of trouble. Like we said earlier, this is what Solary wanted. This is all they needed. Give them a chance, and they are going to level up. Another bad touch from a Chronic. He centered this one to Farah, didn't catch up to it and make up for his own mistake. The youngster has got his team in a lot of trouble here, Shogun.
Yeah, and for the first time in a Chronic's career, this is, taking the shine off a little bit. It was always going to happen at some point. Now the focus of Godsmilla's team has to be to turn this around, get that series win, and put them into the lower part of the knockout gauntlet. But that is just not going to happen. Godsmilla's team, for all their fight up until this point, have completely fallen apart.
It's not a terrible idea there. Freaky made to look pretty silly by Astral's mind game, but Freaky didn't have any boost at all. If he stops to try and calculate Astral's approach and get goal side of him, he's going to have no momentum, and he's going to have no potential to accelerate to Supersonic again, having no boost in the position. So lunging in and going for the in-and-out save, it may have actually worked had Astral landed a flip reset on the ball, thus slowing it down briefly. So it's not the worst idea in the world. And now Godsmilla's team do fight back. Godsmilla himself leading the charge.
And if they're going to do it, then getting it with 2 minutes and 20 left on the clock will certainly give you a chance. It is only that at the moment. It is an outside chance. A series that really does not mean all too much for them anymore. They came in a chance to try and at least make it top 4. Flip reset from Astral. Freaky somehow kept it out, but Chaussette too quick. That lead has just been extended one more time.
Like I said, it's actually a really good save by Freaky, but he gets slightly unfortunate that it's bounced towards Chaussette. Brilliant approach by Chaussette, cutting off the clearing angle. And despite Freaky's heroics in defense, he has been bested twice in a row now. That's quality, pure quality from Astral. The pop-off player for Solary, showing up in game 5 here. It all started off with a Chronic's poor defensive touches or lack of touch entirely. Astral's been the second half of this series, but will a Chronic be able to redeem himself? There's still time.
Oh, Godsmilla just clips away from the ball. Chronic, flip reset. He's going past Farah. Oh my goodness! A Chronic is a mad lad!
There's one, there's two, and there's the goal. Chaussette was pre-jumped right in the way of him, and a Chronic puts it around with a pre-flip shot after 2 resets on the ball.
Admin, I would like to ask if that one is worth 3. No way. There's no way. Send us to overtime. Oh, wow, Chronic. Well, I was wondering how he's going to respond to his earlier mistakes. I like that response. That's a good response.
Yeah, like I said, can he redeem himself? I guess he can. Unfortunately, he made 2 mistakes, and now he scored an incredible solo goal.
So what you're saying is you want to see him do it again?
Yeah, he has to do it again. There's not a lot else going on for Godsmilla's team offensively. We had one clear from Freaky that Godsmilla was able to knock on target, but when it comes to flair, when it comes to dismantling a defense, a Chronic is the guy to do it. They've got a minute to see if they can get 2 more goals and give Solary fans another heartache in the RLCS X season.
Over to the corner. 50 seconds left in the game. A Chronic booms the pass to Godsmilla quite high. The team has tried to at least set up for some sort of offense. Astral pokes the ball onwards. A Chronic almost just hit that ball. You could imagine that being an own goal. Godsmilla misses the ball entirely. Astral able to get to it. A Chronic just outpacing him at the moment. I think at this point, it is going to be pretty much done. We're just waiting to see whether or not we can get one more incredible play. I think Astral, he's going to try and take the challenge for it over the top of a Chronic, but ends up just being taken away from the ball a little bit too much. Farah very far away from his attempt. And that is it. Solary secure top 2.
And I think although a Chronic, he didn't make up for his 2 mistakes in terms of scoreline, he definitely gave everybody what they wanted to see. This was exactly the play to redeem himself. You're only as good as your last play. A Chronic with play of the day, probably play of the regional, unless someone else steps up with something special between now and the end of it all. But what is it with players whose names start with A and incredible goals in EU? We've got Alpha, Astral, a Chronic, and we've got Archie as well. I mean, the list probably goes on. I'm just rattling a few off the top of my head here. That's the tip. You want to pull off and create incredible mechanical goals in Europe, just make sure your name starts with A, and you're probably going to be fine.
Yeah, I mean, what an attempt there from Godsmilla's team. A Chronic, I don't know about you, Johnny. I forgive him. I think he's perfect.
I forgive a Chronic.
Maybe we'll find out if his teammates do.
Hashtag forgive a Chronic.
Hashtag forgive a Chronic. Hashtag RLCS if you want to get in contact with us. And also let us know that you forgive a Chronic. We're going to go to break. When we come back, we're going to find out who Solary are going to be playing tomorrow in the upper part of the Knockout Gauntlet as Group A concludes with Team BDS against White Demons.